Okay, we are now live. Okay, monthly. We always start with the monthly. Okay, basically we know what the deal is with the monthly, right? Untested level here, and we have untested level here. These are your expected levels for pullback continuation from these monthly levels. If we do pull back here, um, the top range here, for instance, is tested. So if we do start to dump, I am expecting a new low below 98.1, which would lead to that 96.4K level. So I'm just gonna remove it because it's pretty much all air until we get to those levels. You know, the other levels below. I don't think I really need to go lower until we get lower, right? So this is just our primary focus on the monthly as of right now. So now we're gonna push it to the weekly. Let me remove the volume. All right, cool. So we have 10 minutes left in the weekly. Um, so this is what we're sort of looking at is we have possible weekly support coming from here, right? And we have weekly support coming from here, right? So depending on how this weekly closes, it looks like it could give 119 as a test, for instance. So it's just like looking at it from the daily standpoint as well too. The daily is actually looking very good as well, right? Because remember what I said around last week that if we do close above this level here, we were going to push higher, and we did close above it. But if we go break it down to the 4 hour, I think was it you retired? We were talking about this that if it does not fail, if it does not hold here and it doesn't give it the reaction we're looking for, we are expecting maybe lower. And what happened? It just gave a lower move, right? But now that yeah, it held below. It basically closed below, it rejected, and you really couldn't get back above it, right? So with 8 minutes left in with this daily weekly candle, you now have this level here as support. If unless in next 8 minutes it magically closes below, it wouldn't really look good. But as of right now, with 8 minutes left, that play is now back on the table, right? Because you're regaining it. And as of right now, we have daily resistance here, and we have daily resistance here. We built more resistance again, so I'd really like to see what price would do in regards to these levels. So let's see what happens if it does give a pullback. For instance, let me get rid of this magnet. We get a pullback, and then you can come up here. I would like to see that, and you're looking more or less for a almost a percentage move. And then going to the 4 hour, I was just interested in the breakdown of this swing right here at 121, given that they have already cleared the liquidity here, right? Like they cleared the liquidity here from the wicks here, right? So if they're going to pump it, and if this area here doesn't reject, we have this as your last target, and then that's really where I would want to be taking a short, for instance, and your stop loss would be at the all-time highs. If it fails and it doesn't look good and it's holding for if your short is not looking at, you're more likely to get stopped out than not, given that the trend on the higher time frame, if you're just looking at the perspective of Bitcoin from the larger scale, is it's clearly up. So you really don't want to be you don't want to be risking a short there with no stop loss, right? Because you know what the deal is at that point. So you can just keep going. So with 6 minutes left, 7 minutes left, this is the idea right now. Something's cooking with my trading view. So for the bearish scenario, right, the one that I was looking for, I think I also marked out. Remember, I was saying watch out for those random bounces that are going to come right here in the middle. And what did it do? It gave one of those random bounces, right? And basically what it did, it closed back above the lower range here, right? It closed back. You close below, and you close back above, and it was holding as support, and then it continued up higher. So that's why we were able to get in long, and you could have got in long if you're watching from here, you could have gotten long based off of some price action right around here, given on maybe the 1 hour or the 4 hour or whatever. That's what you were looking for. And you did get 4 hour closes back above. And actually, it came very locally from here because it closed above and then it retested. So, but now we know, for instance, it is actually printing a more clearer story now, because we know that the bottom range here is tested now as well too. And then you're looking at the daily time frame. It's pretty much all tested again. So maybe the next time they do dump it, that this play here from around the price out action at 117K would come around to down there. So that's what we would possibly want to be expecting the next time we do dump, right? Because it already gave the fail to lose pattern, it pumped, and now it's currently pumping towards these daily resistance. I got stopped out on my shorts in Bitcoin in profit, but not enough profit, to be honest. I could have played it a little bit better because I was expecting the move there. But it's okay. We will catch something else again. So that's really what I am looking for right now. I would like to see what happens around 119, 120. And if it doesn't give the reaction that you are looking for, you have 121. Obviously, shorting higher is better, but there's clear daily resistance here if you're looking for a possible downtrend on Bitcoin. Is there anything else I missed here on the weekly? Well, oh yeah, we didn't cover these weekly levels. Tested. So we know I think the real bearish scenario on Bitcoin, for instance, I've been talking about this for a while, is if we do get weekly closes below these levels here at 104.5 to 102.5, because remember we closed below and then we closed back above. That's what we did. And if we do close back below the next time, it is more likely than not that we push down, but possibly to 96 or even 82, right? We also have the weekly support here, and here, right? So that's really what I'm looking for on Bitcoin. I pretty much covered. I don't think there's really anything else to look out for. I know Ethereum, for instance, hit some weekly resistance. Is there anything else you would like me to cover on Bitcoin before I move on to Ethereum? Steve or Retired, you have the questions to ask, or if you have any ideas that you want to throw in, because I don't see everything. Sometimes I miss things that I don't see and you probably see. Nothing? Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. Looking at the daily. Could reject. I would consider this more of a front run of that test. I hope, I don't know, the other exchanges tested that level more cleanly. Maybe a Coinbase, for instance. Looks like a Coinbase. Yeah, it's more or less like a front run. It didn't get it to the dot, but I would still consider that a test. But let's see what happens at that level. What? See what that happens at that level at 119.2, and we're gonna most likely close above it. And if it gives the retest, we're probably gonna get that 121.4 or whatever thing if it doesn't reject here, because trend is lower high, lower high. Will this be the lower high? They still haven't tested it. Once they clear the liquidity here at least, then I would want to say new all-time highs. So new all-time highs are still on the table, so keep that in mind if we do start to pump aggressively. Okay, so let's go on Ethereum. Okay. So we are starting with the monthly. Really, it really didn't give the pullbacks I was looking for, right? We know why, because we said that this level here was tested, and it tested here as well too. So that's why it's gunning right now. And then your next target is here, right? And I know I see this a lot on fucking on on X and shit. They're doing this. Am I the only one who's not seeing this? They're all doing this. Everyone's posting this is breakout, like bullshit, right? Yes, it could. Yes, it could. It looks like it is going in that direction, right? And where I was really looking for pullbacks now, we have 4 days left in the month. And I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably do a YouTube video or I might do another stream for the monthly candle close because I think on Ethereum at least, like, there's more to talk about on the monthly close than there is for Bitcoin. And that's really what we want to be looking for. So monthly as of right now, this is your support, and then depending on how the monthly closes, you have support here, right? And you have support here as well too. So I would ideally, like, even here you have support from here. You have like a cluster of support around this area. I can, like, honestly, let me just remove these lines because it gets a little bit too fucking hectic. Just clean that up, make that nice. Here and here, right? And then I'll draw a box so we can really see the support nice and clearly. Right here. So we do have support at this region here. And with 4 days in the month, if we do close above this box, it is actually a phenomenal spot because your risk is a lot more clear and more defined if you do get a pullback into this box, right? Then you can just get continuation up higher, right? That's what I'm more waiting for. I'm not waiting on banking on it. Oh, will it get there? That's what I want, whether it be from here or it would be from this level here, for instance. That's what I'm really looking for, right? But if this box doesn't hold, then we know our next monthly levels, our support is 3,200 to 3,000. So that's why we're more or less patient with it. We're not going to be just shorting or selling or buying, right? More or less buying in this case. You don't want to be buying high. You're buying high here, right? I'd rather wait for the confirmation, right? As, like, obvious as it sounds, like, don't buy high, don't sell low or whatever, like, wait for the close. And when you have the close, then you have your confirmation. Okay, so on the weekly, which I wanted to talk about. So we have weekly resistance right here. And it just gave the test right now. They just cleared basically. So this is, like, what I like to talk about. You wait for the weekly close. The weekly just closed a minute ago, right? They gave the weekly test, right? Right before the weekly close. So what does that mean? The liquidity now here is gone on the weekly, right? Let's say they didn't test it before the weekly close. There's a big difference in between when they tested it before and after the weekly close, because before, the liquidity is now cleared. If they didn't test it after, now the liquidity is still there. But in this case, now you want to see a downtrending structure from where the test happened, right? So if this is true, you really just don't want to see any new high above the weekly the last weekly candle. You don't want to see a new high above there, because what you're looking for will push it. Like, I just want to make it clear. You want this to basically be the start of a downtrending structure. That's what you want to say. But if it continues to pump, that means this trend is still strong. It's stronger than the weekly liquidity that was taken there for it to go lower. That's a clear concept that you have to understand when you're testing these levels, understanding the test before and after. Will it test it before the daily closes? Will it test it after the daily closes? Oh, they cleared it on the last daily, so now I know the liquidity there is gone. Like, you get the logic there. That's like a really important understanding of when you're looking at those levels for when price will reject or how it would reject. Currently, it's rejecting. So let's go push it back to the weekly so I can get this concept straight. So what did they clear below from the last weekly candle? So as you see right now, they took liquidity out here. Let me get rid of these bubbles. So just looking at the last weekly candle, you see what did this weekly candle, the prior weekly candle, test before. So they tested all of this price action here. And ideally, I think it bounced like from right here, from at 3,500, right? So you want to see an uptrending structure from here if you're bullish. And whether it gives a second test here, or let's say if it comes down, you wanted to maybe see a higher low relative to here and for this to push higher. But with four days left in the month, I would rather wait for the monthly close, to be honest. I think it will give a lot more clarity for where Ethereum is possibly heading, and you'll get a way better entry. But this is more or less the idea. If you do take out this low here, you got to look for the next weekly level of support. And the next weekly level of support coincides with this monthly level as well, unless I'm missing something. Well, there's a lot, honestly. There's so much weekly. Like, this is when the chart gets very cluttered. But for instance, we have weekly support here. That stands out. I have weekly support here as well too. And I do have weekly support at that monthly, which is right around here. There's a lot of fucking support. I don't know which one it will bounce at, but I'd rather be more patient for the monthly because then there's less levels to be worrying about than looking at the weekly. Is that clear? But to be honest, it looks good from just a perspective of how it's all tested and everything. Like, this range is going to break. Bitcoin is at new all-time highs. Why can't Ethereum go to new all-time highs, right? Like, it'd be a little bit crazy if it didn't. Let's push it to the FBTC chart, because looks good, I guess. So we hit that level of weekly. Was it weekly or monthly? That was probably monthly. Yeah, this is monthly. Still looks very solid. Let me clean some of this up. Okay. So monthly looks good. Let's see how the monthly closes here. So then again, with 4 days left in the month, you do want your monthly retest to come here. That's where I would look to retest to buy. So you can use this as a confluence for Ethereum USD. So when Ethereum USD closes and this closes on the monthly, you can come back to here and see, okay, where is Ethereum relative to the FBTC chart? Are they like both at major levels of support where I should buy? And if that's the case, buy it. If that's not the case, don't buy it. I don't know what the price action would look like exactly, because maybe they could both be dumping and the price could still be hanging out here, for instance. But once it gets to those levels of support, then you can sort of use it. So that's what I'd be looking for. Let's look at the weekly. We have weekly support here. And we have weekly support here as well too. So watch out. Maybe it could come back as low as here on the weekly. So that's what I would be looking for right now on the weekly time frame for Ethereum, ETH BTC. Let's go back here. Yeah, this was my main idea. It doesn't have to happen. Retest doesn't need to be deep always. So looks good for rejection here. I wouldn't be buying up here. Shorting here is risky. We'll see what happens. Let's push it to the daily. Okay, daily looks good. Just from the structure here. So I'm gonna just cover the daily on another Ethereum chart so we could have a more clear picture of the price action. So what is wrong with my trading view? Okay, so that's what it was. Tested. Okay, so the bottom range here is tested. on the week on the daily. So if we do start to dump, expect a new low below here. That's the idea. A new low below 3,500, and then you know the supports, right? You know the supports and the resistance. I mean the supports you would have to buy. So you were gonna go get a new low below here, and what you really would want to be looking for on the daily is this is your last daily level of support here at 3760. About right here, right? So it's either you pump here and you get that continuation up, right? Or you close back below, retest, and then you get a new low, and wherever that monthly, weekly support is, like I don't want to mark it all over again, but you guys get the idea. Whether it be from here, this is a little bit off, to whether it be here, right? We talked about these levels, so that's what you're really looking for them to sweep the lows, as they say, and then you go. So let's see what happens at 37.62. If you decide to long 37.62, you would want to be playing the trend. I would honestly put my stop loss, if I were going to long it, to be here. That's not the tool I wanted. I would want it to be here, honestly. And then if you do decide to take the long there, but you're longing high, expecting higher. So it's risk reward is not really there, because this can be a bigger continuation before it does something very parabolic, right? Whether it be going to 5,000 or even 13,000 or whatever. That's the idea, because we know the BTC pair looks very solid as well too. And I think I've mapped out that, like, I do want the structure like this to go sideways here. This is what I am envisioning, what I sort of think might happen, because I know these levels here are all tested. So a nice big bull flag here, for instance, will probably lead to that major pump on the ETH BTC pair. That's the main idea as of right now for ETH BTC. Okay. Any questions on ETH before I push it? Retired or Steve? Steve, you play the drums? You're a musician? And I seen your photo. I never really looked at your photo. Got a drum set. Yeah, yeah. Let's look at Sol. Just holding. Yeah, yeah. Just be patient, man. There's like really never no rush, honestly. When you get rid of FOMO, that's when you're like, your mind's at ease. You're like, oh, okay, I don't have to worry about jack shit. Professional musician for 30 years. Wow. That's longer than I've been alive, man. That's amazing. I'm pretty sure you play everything from drums to guitar. You sing too? Yeah. Well, you're making money, right? So piano. I play piano too. I know fairly some piano. That's pretty much about it. Okay, let me continue. So monthly on Solana is tested. I think I explained there was going to be a rejection possibly here, which it did. Um, Expectation is you want to see monthly close above these two levels here. 170, 166 would be amazing for a monthly close. If you close the monthly below 177, 160, we do have monthly support here. And then I'm going to just push it to the weekly quickly, because here are your weekly supports that I really like. I love the 112 level to 105 level. These are like my happiest levels to bid on Solana if we do get it. But that's only if you do get the monthly close above 170, below 170. If you do close above, you're looking for continuation. And more or less the idea of this would be like here to here if you do close above. If you close below, idea would probably look something like this. And then if you fail 106, God help Solana, 42 would be the target, ideally. Unless it gives one of those random bounces, then you look for a reclaim of the range or price action to develop to have a better picture. So that's more or less the idea. Hopefully it just continues up and you just make a killing, and maybe Solana goes up to 500-600 a coin. But as of right now, we're just gonna look at things locally. Let's look at the weekly. Weekly gave the test here. So I'm really only interested in those monthly levels. Then again, we have weekly support here at 153 to 153. Am I missing something? That's exactly what I don't want. Tested. What do we test here? No, that's tested. Oh, okay. Huh. Well, so Solana closed above the weekly here. So it's currently giving the test as of right now. You need to see it go now if you want to long this weekly bounce right off of the bat. Daily, if not, you want to look for something lower on the daily. I would probably look from here to here. That'd be deal. You have support just wandering around here on the daily, so could bounce from one of those levels. But from the weekly, it looks like it's pushing. If it doesn't, what is the trend? You want to see this is the low. You would ideally want to see a higher low around here to get the continuation higher, if that's the case. If you fail below these levels, then you're pushing down to those weeklies. Is that clear? It looks good, honestly. It looks good. I wouldn't rush into anything. It looks good. Litecoin. So, Litecoin. The reason I like this is because it looks very clear to me. So I think, what did I say last week? I said on the weekly we want to see a bounce here. It gave a fucking clean test. Hope you guys caught that. Current weekly, it looks good. It looks good still. So ideally, the idea for Litecoin is, okay, you have that low here. Let me just push it to the daily. You have the low here. You're looking at a trending structure probably for upside. So these are possibly the higher highs and higher lows within this structure here. It's going to lag again. Within the structure here, higher lows and higher highs. So if you want to get in, I think it looks ready to go. Because, let me clean this up a bit. What am I missing? Am I missing something? I don't want to be biased based off of Bitcoin, but I can't be biased based off this, because it's the only direction this one's really pointing for me is up, because this is tested here, right? Let's push it to the monthly. This area is here is tested. I have 172, which is untested, and I have 207, and then what is that? Basically, it's all air above that. Let's push those. Hopefully, we'll see on the weekly. Pretty much, because you look at here at the weekly, they did. This is basically a front run of the test. They tested it here off of the weekly, and I just really have this on the weekly. So these are monthlies, right? I mark these as monthlies. So that's what you really have to watch out for. That's why I'm really thinking this accumulation here is finished, and I think it's just ready to go up from here as of right now. Let me see. I think. Let me see. I'm trying to give you raw analysis. So what do I want to see on the daily? So they came here on the daily, and this is basically what they've been fighting to break up out of, right? One, two, three, four tests. You could, this is what I would, maybe I mark it in. Let's see. You can long here and then stop loss here. And it just goes. That would be the idea. But then again, you have, it's lagging again. Lag. You're looking at it just for a daily there. You're gonna want to be a little bit more patient, I assume. If you do close above here, let's push it to the 4 hour. 4 hour looks good. Gave that retest there. The bottom range is tested here. All right. Tested. So it's really trying to break up from here. If it does break up, it's 119. And then above 119, man, like test it. Like it's ready to go. Like this is like probably a bull flag, for instance, for continuation. If this weekly is not true, here. If this weekly is not true, and it does, I mean, meaning not true, it makes a new low. You have weekly support here at 100. I don't know. I find it really like, just like, will it go back down there? Like the Tesla's pretty fucking clean. What else could you ask for? You know, they already tested that twice there off of the daily. Could be ready to go, to be honest. But I just would watch out for Bitcoin again. Like Bitcoin makes the rules. It just, what if this just goes sideways for longer and it just never breaks out? It could. I don't say it's never, but you get the idea. It looks good though. It looks good. Cripple XRP. Well, the arrow I put there pretty much gave the test. I really don't want to redo the chart because there's really not much to do. Gave the test there. Held. What did I mark here? Well, you have weekly resistance here at 345, which also coincides with this daily level here. Close. If it gives another pullback, maybe at $3.14 would be nice so long. The thing is, they front ran the weekly level at 294. So what if you close below here, test, and then you give a cleaner test of this level here, and then you go? Doesn't have to, but that's one idea. Or is it gonna lag again? No lag. Okay. Or you come down and then you just go. And then continuation higher. Oh, let me see. I'm neglecting something. My mistake. You have resistance at 229, right? Because they close below it. So let's see what that reaction is there. And then you have as a support array. And then you have support here. So this 217 to 213 area is a little bit enticing to get long on. And you would want to be managing your risk. Let's look at the 4 hour. Yeah, dude, just if you want to play the trend, you could ride stops as low as here, to be honest. And then expectation is $5-6. Because if you're catching $5-6, like you could ride less risk, higher stop loss, but look, 60%. It doesn't have to be super high leverage, because let's say you just do less leverage, you're going to be catching 60% on whatever you use. That's a lot of money. And if you do 2-3x, it's a lot of money. Because what, you need 33% for it to draw down? It's very unlikely, to be honest. Because this here is just it sort of just looks like that. Just like more up. But then again, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. That's what it all looks like that until it's not. So like then again, Bitcoin. So that's why I'm like not so convinced on at anything. Um, piano, Steve. I play piano. I think I told you that for a little bit. Is there anything else? Other coins? Let's look at ETH. What is it doing? Is that the right ETH chart? Oh, looks like it made new high. Looks like it just wants to go. Let's see. That's why I wait for the monthly. It's honestly probably gonna push higher. They already cleared the liquidity. What else does it need to do? Just go up. Let's look at Litecoin. I'm like tempted to market long Litecoin here. Should I just fucking do it? Stop below 112. It's like the idea. Even have 4-hour support here. Zcash? Yeah, I can do Zcash. I think Beam and I were talking about it. One second, let me check Bitcoin real quick. No, it didn't go up yet. Okay, well, this is basically what I have. It's holding this monthly swing at 36. What would be nice is to get monthly closes above 45. And if you get monthly closes above 45, you're probably going to clear the liquidity here. It hasn't cleared the liquidity yet at 50. So if you close above 45, that's almost confirmation because this was a move up that basically took you to those lows, right? So when you get above there, then you're looking at the next swing here, which took you up and basically took you to that swing down. Well, more or less would be like this, honestly, because I'm neglecting some price action, right? It look like that. That's your trend. Let's push to the weekly. So the weekly, they gave the test. You could honestly see a second test here. Alright. What is it? 41.43. You hold above that, you're good for up. Because look, the bottom range here. Bottom range here is tested. So, second test go. Right? That's the idea, at least. And then look, because look how now looking, this is a lot more clear. This is also tested too. Oh, here comes the lag. What is happening with my computer? Right? This is tested too. Like, market's bullish, right? Like, it's more stupid to point the arrow down, right, than it is to point it up. Like, that's sometimes how simple you have to look at it. Right? It's like, it's more logical to point an arrow up than it is to... One second. I closed my door and my dog wants to... Come close the door, and then my dog wants to come in. He's like, "Why'd you close the door on me?" Um, yeah, it does look great. Zcash, hope BC. Yeah, me too. I hope Bitcoin doesn't spoil the show, man. Here, we can just like talk. Like, I'll talk about. I'm not like the type of guy to be like, "Oh, it's bearish as hell," right? Because it's not. It's not bearish. Yes, it's going up. What are people predicting? $1 million Bitcoin and so forth, right? I don't think it's gonna go $1 million soon. Like, it doesn't seem like it's possible very soon, but could go maybe 160, 170. But like, you have to be a little bit cautious though. But we know Bitcoin goes through those. Um, we know Bitcoin goes through the cycles of where it's Bitcoin dominance, then Ethereum, and then the altcoin dominance. And you look again, like from this uptrend at from 16,000, it's been trending up for almost 1,000 days, and after the trend will possibly come to an end. Yeah, like if Bitcoin just goes sideways, doesn't mean it has to pump more, right? So we just know, I just know, like just given from the price action, there will be a time I am ready for it, and when it comes, I'm gonna be shorting the fucking shit out of this Bitcoin shit. When these levels here are tested, right? When my setup comes, I will share it with you guys. The setup is going to be one of my. I'm ready for the short when it does come. I am expecting if price starts to come, when price starts to come back towards this range, around 70K, I am ready for the setup to below 49K. That is going to be one of the setups I'm looking for. So I just know for when it happens, that's what I'm looking for, because it's going to be a one hell of a fucking short. I'm going to be banking hard on it, because it's very clean as day if it does come, and we know the setup. I think this is what I would be looking for. There's a little bit of speculation here, right? So let's start with the monthly. We're on the monthly. So ideally, this is what I want to see. Okay, so I want them. Here, this is what I'm going to see. This is what I want to see, really. I want price. This is for the short setup. I want price at some point to come down here and test this level and clear the liquidity, to get the liquidity out of the way here. Give a bounce of some sort, because let's say this candle here closes below, gives the retest, whether it be from around this region, right? When the liquidity is here, you're expecting a lower high, right? So a lower high would probably take us down to this level. I would expect a bounce, but I wouldn't expect a strong bounce. And the setup I'm looking for is when Bitcoin closes the monthly below 71K. Because if the monthly closes below 71K, I would want this retest to look like this. And that's when I would be probably hammering the fucking shit out of shorting Bitcoin there to get that new low to maybe even 49K. And ideally the target would be 45K to 35K. That's what I'm looking for. But that's like if you clear the liquidity there, short some here, hold the short for a long time, and then when the candle closes below here, I'm going to start pressing the fucking shit out of the short. Pressing means like adding more to my short to really just capitalize on the fucking move. And then wait for Bitcoin to chill for a very long time. Sideways, sideways, sideways. Buy some spot, buy some spot, buy some spot. And then go higher maybe. That's the plan. I don't know. I'm not saying it's going to happen like that exactly. A lot could fucking happen. But that's what I'm waiting for. Is there any other questions? Any other coins you want me to cover? What is Bitcoin doing? Did I just ruin my Bitcoin chart? No? Pingu? What is Pingu? Pingu. Penguin? Pengu? Jesus Christ. Okay. Uh, weekly looks good, dude. um, and monthly? It looks good for an up. Uh, oh, did it not close on the daily? Oh no, it closed. It gave a retest there. Um, you could get long here. Stop below the last candle, daily low. If you fail, you have the weekly, and then you have the daily here. Ideally, I would want to be long the daily for higher. I don't know how high it would go. What is it testing? Yeah. You can bounce here, push up, or you get a continuation either from the daily or the weekly, because you would just want to see the trend continue, right? Yeah, just watch out. I would move. I don't know where your entry is, but you want to see trend continue. Otherwise, you're gonna be risking another 3%, 0.03, like flat, 0.03 flat, like down here. Oh wow, so you're good. Um, I would move your stop to here at least, the 0.35 at least. Because if you get a new low, then what if there's a higher low here and then it comes back down to your entry, right? If you want to be taking profit, like here is ideal to take profit around. Like I would scale a little bit out here at least. Scale a little bit out here at least, and then you can always add back here or here. And then when you go back down to there, then you're it's fine. You just have a, and then you just move your stop up higher. You can add more and move your stop. That's the beauty of it. Add more, put your stop higher. Add more, put your stop higher. Because at some point you're gonna get invalidated when it gets tighter. When it gets tighter, I'm doing little hand gestures with my own hands, like getting tighter, whatever that would look like. Okay, and then I know it's Steve set Tia. We'll go Tia.
Accessibility shortcuts.
No, I do not want that. Okay, Tia. Tia. It's funny because there's a girl in my high school. Her name is Tia. It's like, how do you get the name Tia? Okay. Okay. Looks good for now. Okay, clean chart. Looks good on the monthly. Ideally, the target on the monthly is $8. $8. And then we have weekly. If it loads when it wants to load. Tested. Weekly resistance here. And then you have weekly resistance here. So these are your ideal targets. Possible start of the trend down. You really want to see price hold above here. I'll just make it red. You don't want to see it go below $1.74. Daily test. So close below, close back above. I would be interested in there. And I am interested in here. To even around here. If it gives a pullback within like the $1.86 to $1.95, that's a good region. If it comes low, high, low. 1 second. That's up, down, up, down. That's not what I want. Like, that's tested. Yeah, that's tested. So I wouldn't want to bid there. Like if you lose $1.74, you have $1.60. So this can even come down to here. The little box. Like I always prefer to get in at the range lows because I know my invalidation. But if you're longing here, let's say price comes down here, it clears the liquidity, then you can get tight stops here, right? You can move your stop up. And then if you get stopped out, you try again here. Sort of like blackjack. It's like you're pushing with the dealer. You keep pushing with the dealer until you get a move. And that's why you can just tighten your stop losses. Yeah, let's look at ETH trying to reject. Litecoin, what is Litecoin doing? Litecoin trying to push. Man, I should have marketed, huh? I should just marketed in. So it was consolidating all week. It's like I want to add. But then again, Bitcoin. It's always fucking Bitcoin. Because I really it's like I really wonder what the setups would look like for all these altcoins if the shit hit the fan. And it could. Then again, it looks so good. That's why we wait. Did Bitcoin not give the test that I wanted? Did not give the test yet. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I know. 111k looms, man. Because we know. Steve, you've been here for a long time. You know, it's like Bitcoin is definitely, it's very likely that it'll come back below 100k. Like we both know that. It's like it's very likely it will at some point. Just a matter of when it will and how it will. But we already sort of we have the ideas in mind, but we have a lot of work. We have a lot of liquidity to clear for it in order to go below 100k. We need to take out the 111k level and all that. Yeah. Okay. Stream has been going for around 53 minutes, so I'll call it right here.